All right, it's 3.9 Demographic Transition, Unit 3 Populations, AP Environmental Science. My name is Mr. Chipman. I teach AP Biology and AP nothing else, just biology at Murray High School in Murray, Kentucky. And we're working through AP Environmental Science. This is the end of Unit 3, 3.9. Here we go. Looking at this concept of demographic transitions. Right, we've talked about demographics. This is basically the study of populations and how populations now looking at the idea of how they transition from one type of population to the next. This demographic transition model, or DTM, for those who are in the know, usually follows 4 stages. There are 5 here. We can look at the 5th, it's fine. The stage 1 is called a high stationary stage. The high stationary stage, high birth rates, high death rates. Population growth is steady and stable. Limited food supply, pre-industrial societies, few, if any, remain of this sort of thing. And so this isn't going to be represented on this map necessarily. High stationary is the idea that a population is just kind of not really growing. They're sort of dying and being born at the same time. This would be like a hunter-gatherer type society, right? The early expanding stage is going to be death rates are going to decline due to improved food, sanitation, medicine. Birth rates are going to remain high. This is stage 1 here on this particular graph. The early expanding stage. This is a population that is growing quite a bit. The next stage is called late expanding stage, or stage 2. On this particular graph, birth rates begin to decline due to education, family planning, and urbanization that we've talked about. Death rates are going to stay low, though. Death rates are staying low for the reasons that we've already mentioned. And so population is going to begin to slow, right, during this late expanding. India, Mexico, great examples of this today. Low stationary, see this toward the end of this particular graph in stages 3 and 4 on this graph, and even into 5. 5 is going to be more of a declining population. Low stationary, low birth rates, low death rates, and so the population is no longer growing. It's growing, its growth stabilizes or even begins to decline, like you see in stage 5 on this particular drawing. Aging population, smaller families as a rule, less children. Japan, Italy are the ones that we've been using. Not to pick on those families or those countries, but we use South Korea as well. But it's just data, right? We're just talking about data. This brings us to the idea of the developing countries versus the developed countries. These are words that are used all the time, and they're actually technical terms. You don't get to decide what they mean. A developing country typically has a higher infant mortality rate, so children are dying. Children are in the workforce even. And the cause of this, because of this, more children are being born, right? More children in the workforce. It's sad, but it is the case. It's the way that all countries sort of develop. And these are rapidly growing countries, right? This is sort of back here in stage 1 and 2, even to a lesser extent, where the population is starting to stabilize. But stage 1, stage 2 in this picture are going to be what we would call developing countries. Developed countries, use a stereotypic picture of skyscrapers to talk about developed countries. Lower mortality rate, infant mortality. Why? Hospitals, grocery stores, places like that, right? Nutrition is going to increase, sanitation is going to increase, medical care, greater access to education, healthcare, family planning, all those things we've talked about. Idea of urbanization. What is urbanization? Everyone's centralizing in these great big places where people live on top of each other, which is going to cause people to want to have less children, right, as a rule. And so as a country becomes developed, you're going to see those population rates decrease and even begin to decline. This is just the normal way of things. It's been studied. Let's look at a practice problem. Graph below shows a country's crude birth rate and crude death rate over time. At first, both rates are high. Then the crude death rate declines sharply, while the crude birth rate remains high for several decades before gradually falling. During this interval, the population grows rapidly. Which stage of the demographic transition does this period represent? So you see the period there where the birth rates are going to the birth rates remain higher, but the death rates begin to fall off. And what is going to be the one that we're going to look at? It's not the high stationary, it's not late expanding, but instead it's early expanding because death rates decline while birth rates remain high, producing rapid population growth. I hope this was helpful. That is all for Unit 3. If you have questions about any of the sections, please ask me in the comments down below. Really happy to be making these videos. Unit 4 is coming soon.